Facilitating critical discussions with young men about issues of masculinity is not easy work. Gender transformative programs must necessarily engage with difficult conversations about issues such as sexism, homophobia, and masculine entitlement. These conversations are necessarily emotionally intense. This presentation explores the emotional intensities of gender transformative work and outlines a practical framework for facilitators to work through these intensities. The recent Gillette advertisement, "The Best a Man Can Get," illustrates these emotional intensities. This ad is a call for men to take action against harmful masculine norms, but it has attracted enormous public backlash, with over 1.5 million dislikes recorded on YouTube. In particular, it's seen as insulting and blaming of boys and men. Emotions play a powerful role in reproducing but also transforming harmful masculinities. Addressing emotions is central to gender transformative work. But the discomfort of this work can produce alienation and resistance. There are particular strategies, sometimes referred to as critical pedagogies, that are central to gender transformative programming. Facilitators of group discussion can, for example, present stories that bring to life gender inequities and listen to women's experiences. Examine how boys and men experience gender, including their feelings of disempowerment. A key aim here is to support boys and men to develop critical awareness of how masculinities are socially constructed towards transforming harmful masculine norms. Strong emotions can both open up and shut down important conversations. The question is, how might we open up difficult conversations with boys and men in ways that do not alienate but open up and connect? Critical affective literacy is a framework that might help explore the emotional intensities of these conversations. The first principle of this framework asks us to examine not just what we feel in particular situations, but why we feel what we feel and what our emotions do. For facilitators working with boys and men, this principle invites the following questions. What aspects of gender transformative work incite particular strong emotions for you? What are these emotions? How and why are these emotions felt? And what do these emotions do? The second principle invites us to imagine standing in the shoes of others. It asks, how are we to understand the suffering of others when we try to stand in their shoes? Teaching for empathy is important in gender transformative work, but we must approach this concept with caution. For facilitators working with boys and men, this principle invites the following questions. What are the limits and advantages to teaching for empathy? How might teaching for empathy enhance understanding of the suffering of others? And how might it be counterproductive in presuming to know the other and their suffering? How might a critical reflection on the limitations of our knowledge of self and other enrich our connections with and support for others? How might different representations of the other support different forms of empathy? This principle invites us to think about how particular emotions become attached to particular people, objects, and ideas through everyday politics. The term toxic masculinity is a useful example here. This term is currently used to describe a range of male behaviours. The idea of masculinity as toxic and dangerous produces a strong emotional response and has become attached to particular groups of boys and men. For facilitators working with boys and men, this principle invites the following questions. How and why are gendered messages circulated in order to generate a specific emotional response? How, when and why are certain emotions applied to or associated with certain groups of men and boys? How can we learn to identify and critique the everyday politics that attach particular emotions to particular people, objects, and ideas? This principle asks, how can what we say and feel become what we do? Emotions play a powerful role in transforming our words into action. They can produce a sense of responsibility and solidarity for activism. For facilitators working with boys and men, this principle invites the following question. How can facilitators channel the emotional intensities arising from difficult conversations about gender with men and boys to create connection, solidarity, and action for gender justice? Critically engaging with our emotions remains central to gender transformative work. When we are emotionally engaged in issues of injustice, we are more likely to interrogate our complicity in producing oppression and to recognise our responsibility to challenge our unearned advantages.